Hello, hello, hello. Today is the 5th of January 2017. I am Hammerforce, aka Stephen, and we're here for another daily blog thingy. So, today was an enjoyable day, I think, actually. Enjoyable is a way to sum it up, and somewhat productive too when you consider this YouTube channel at least. Got a good few recordings out of it. So what did I actually do? I mainly played a lot of computer games actually. Lots of Hearts of Iron, in fact. When I woke up, I can't remember. I watched some videos. Apparently, I have down here on my notes because I keep a little mini diary now of what I do in the day for the purposes of this video. But apparently, I watched some videos, and then round about after lunchtime, I was playing a game of Hearts of Iron as Austria, unmodded. So Austria, the country that was famously Anschlussed, aka annexed, by Germany. Now, it was a very difficult game, and I definitely plan on coming back to that one. And I've recorded a video of it that I'll probably put on this channel at some point, not entirely sure when, so you can watch that to find out how it went. So after that, I took a bit of a break from Hearts of Iron, and I was playing my 8-year-old cousin a bit more. I've talked about him quite a lot recently, you know. Good lad, good lad. He hit his head at school today, actually. And you know, like how it is with kids. When he got home, he said, "Oh, I can't remember who it was. It was like someone called Ollie, I think. Ollie headbutted me." And we were all like, "What? He headbutted you? Why did the school not mention this to us when they called us midway through the day, saying that you've bumped?" He bumped his head. A clash of heads, I think, was a phrase that was used. Made it sound nice and gentle, really. Then when we saw him, he had this massive bulging bruise. Like, really, it was uncomfortable to look at. And he was now saying that a kid had headbutted him. Now, he was light on the details, our 8-year-old, and when we asked a bit more, we said, "Oh, why did he do that? You know, was he laughing? Was he being mean to you? What was happening?" And apparently, he was just doing quite a lot. The other kid, and then, for some reason, my 8-year-old cousin does not know why, but he says for some reason he, being the 8-year-old cousin, decided to walk forward into Ollie. So it doesn't entirely sound like a malicious intent by Ollie to headbutt him, and his relationship with Ollie seems to be fine. So it differs quite a bit than the initial impression you would have got from speaking to him, where it's like, "Oh, I was headbutted at school today," becomes walking into a guy who was messing around. Kids do that a lot. Ultimately, he seemed to be okay. He had a little ice applied to his bruise. Apparently there's 3 other kids, or 2 other kids in there as well. So clearly a busy day at that school's first aid area. There weren't kids who were related to that particular injury. Apparently, it was a different group of kids also bashed themselves together in different parts of the face as well, I think. So, pretty chaotic day, I imagine. I feel a bit sorry for the teachers. So that was that. That was quite interesting, I thought. And it really exposes how kids are like that. And, you know, certainly when I was a kid, I know that you'd admit details to make your parents think higher of you. And to be honest, it's very tempting to do that when you're an adult. I always find it important to resist that temptation, because ultimately my experience, personally at least, has been that it always comes back to bite you. You see, I'm almost a believer in karma. I don't believe it as some sort of mystical force, but my philosophy on karma is if you do things that are negative towards other people, if they find out, they're less inclined to help you in the future. And that's karma. That's my perspective of it anyway. I know some people sort of believe it as this mystical force that happens. I'm not a believer in that. I believe it sort of as a cause and effect type of thing. So there you go. I think it's an important thing to resist. Don't be like the 8-year-old there. Just come clean with what happened. Admit your mistakes. And carry on. So I thought I heard a noise, but I don't think it's quite late here. I've got to keep it down. But yeah, so I was playing my 8-year-old, playing some more Hearthstone. He really likes that, and I want to make sure to make the most of our time while I'm down in Cornwall, because obviously I'm not down in Cornwall that much anymore. Maximum of 28 days a year, more realistically about 20. Occasionally he comes to visit me, so I'll see him maybe 25 to 30 days of the year. I guess you got bank holidays and weekends as well, actually, so a bit more than that. But in either case, you know, maybe we're talking about around about a month-ish of the year, as opposed to 12 months of the year. So still making sure to maintain that contact. He believes there's a bond between cousins, even though he literally would have tens and hundreds of cousins, and you know, we're almost cousins with everyone when you go out far enough, aren't we, really? But we get on well, and I want to maintain that. He's one of my backup retirement plans anyway, so very important job. Right, so there you go. After appeasing my retirement backup plan, we had dinner, and then I went on, talked to people in Eventum again, as I tend to do most days. And then some of us played Hearts of Iron together again. We were playing as the mighty nations of myself as Cuba, someone called Nathan as Mexico, who was indeed building a wall, as you must as Mexico. And guess what? Mexico was paying for it. I guess Trump was right all along. And then we had New Zealand being played by someone called Jetblaze, or Andrew as well as his real name. So, yeah, Andrew, I hope. But yeah, so that was an interesting game. Sort of was a good setup. Once again, I think I'll probably put that one on the channel as well. It's a nice multiplayer game. Good commentary, I think. Worth checking out if you're interested in Hearts of Iron, or even if you're not. What Hearts of Iron is, it's called a grand strategy game. So these are games very often made by Paradox Interactive, which mean you take control of a country, sorry, not a company. I've been watching a video about another game, so that's why I said company. No, a country, you take control of a country, and it's one on the entire world. You can pick any country in the world, usually, so that's why I could pick Cuba. Very few other nation games let you play as Cuba, when you can also play as the United States, the UK, France, Germany, South Africa, India, Tibet, Soviet Union. Now, every country is up for grabs. You know, the Dutch East Indies, lots of countries available there. And that's what makes it really cool. There's lots of, because obviously depending on the country you pick, you'll have a very different experience. If you play as Germany, obviously, in the World War II period, which is when the game is set, that's going to be a very different experience than Cuba. You know, if you want a desperate, almost impossible task, playing as Austria and withstanding the German Anschluss is a very different experience than playing, let's say, the Soviet Union and, you know, absorbing the German invasion in winter with masses of manpower, or the UK, where you're doing lots of fights in Africa and naval invasions, maybe near Berlin or something like that. Very different experiences, and that's what makes the game really cool. And they've got different games all set in different periods as well, and I'm a very big fan of Paradox games, so definitely worth checking out if you're interested in other strategy games like Civilization or Total War or any strategy game, card games even. Card games are essentially a strategy game. And expand your horizons, I think. Definitely expand your horizons. That's, I think, an important thing to do in life in general, really. Just take up opportunities, and unfortunately they're video games, so they cost money, so you need that to begin with, but if you can spare the money, definitely something worth playing just to see, do you like them or do you not? Worth picking up in a Steam sale. Quite often the base game, at least, is on a relatively cheap price. Unfortunately, we've just had the winter sale, so the next one probably won't happen till Easter. But consider picking one up if you haven't tried them before. And so, yeah, that was basically it. Oh, I did have a quick hour-long chat or so with my nan, which I tend to do when I'm down here in the evenings sometimes. And we talk about all manner of things, you know. We were talking about Brexit, we were talking about, well, obviously we always talk about Brexit, that's a very big issue. Our opinions on the subject differ slightly and agree in other places. Obviously she was in favour of Brexit, I am against. But we each have our own reasons, and I think all, you know, perfectly valid, and perfectly valid reasons. So what else do we talk about? And another actual important thing that I think I like to mention anyway a lot is that on news there was something like some companies' car sales were up 3.2% or something like that, and from 2015 compared to 2016. And I was like, okay, well, what was 2014 to 2015 like? Because if it's 5% up, then that's a decrease overall. The media doesn't give you this sort of context. Or there's another example where apparently there's a study that people along roads are more likely, along main roads, are more likely to have dementia. And then it turned out, when you looked into it, that the study was done in Canada, yet the media was accidentally passing off as if it was like the UK, like it'd been done in the UK, like it was relevant to the UK. A study done in Canada doesn't necessarily mean anything in the UK because you're going to have different cultures, and it was sort of a one-off study. There's no other studies that had found this conclusion, hadn't really been looked into before, so there's no way to conclude accurately. The study might have had errors in, but the media, they don't ever preface it with this information. And why is that, you ask? Why is the media just so awful? Well, they're not awful, it's just that they're all very busy. They probably get bombarded by hundreds of emails every day from press people just trying to give them a line, and that's what the press people do. They give them nice simple lines because they can't write massive long emails because they'll never be read. So they give them nice simple lines such as study shows dementia is higher along main roads. Nice and easy to digest, nice and easy to pass on to the public, nice and easy to make an article out of. And so that's why that happens. The journalists do not have much time to look into it. They do not have the inclination to explain to the general public about, statistical sampling, potential issues there. A lot of these are very abstract concepts that just don't go very well in a quick soundbite. Or for some reason they think the general public can't understand, which I am not necessarily convinced is true myself. I think the general public, such as you and I, are a lot more savvy than the media gives everyone credit for. I don't think a lot of people who voted Brexit are stupid. Some people seem to think that. No, they're not. They're not stupid. They just had different information to work off. Where did that information come from? Different sources than where my information came from. Whose sources are more accurate? I think mine are, but I don't know. I'm still working off a relatively small amount of information. I could be the one that has the poor sources. People who voted for Brexit would call someone who voted to stay in the EU stupid. It's all a matter of perspective, and that's just because you get your information from different places. Well, that was, anyway, quite a tirade I went on there, wasn't it? That was, today I don't really have, I guess, a single central topic to tie things back to, but I guess we'll just conclude quickly about what I did then. Just to go over again, I played lots of Hearts of Iron. I played a single-player game as Austria versus Germany, and then I played a multiplayer game as Cuba, and I had some friends playing New Zealand and Mexico. I was playing my 8-year-old cousin. I talked a bit about how he got a bruise on his head and the very interesting perspectives that kids have on issues, either deliberately or accidentally. I know when I was younger it was definitely a combination of both. And what else did I talk? Oh yeah, and I finally talked about various things to do with the media, a topic I will often frequent, so expect to hear about that a fair bit. But yeah, how was your day? Let me know in the comments below. Anything I say particularly resonate with you? Want to discuss more? Please talk, ask questions, let's have a discussion. No one's had any discussions with me yet, so please be the first. Well, any discussions in these videos, at least, in the comments below. I talk to people plenty in a day-to-day basis, but it'd be nice to talk to some of you lot. Anyway, thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye. Thanks for watching our videos. I hope you enjoyed them. Please could you do us a favour and just hit the like button underneath the video? It will improve our search ratings, so we'd really appreciate it. Make sure to check out our channel, see if there's anything else you're interested in, and have a very nice day.